A woman spends 3 months getting mocked by a coworker over her body. She doesn't know the coworker has no idea why that body looks the way it does. When she finally snaps and tells the truth in front of the whole office, her coworker runs straight to HR to get her fired. Bad move. Because by the time this story's over, it's not our narrator packing up her desk. This is petty justice. Before we get to the office drama, you need the real context. Because this is the part that makes everything after it hit so much harder. 4 years before any of this started, our narrator, let's call her Maya, lost her mother to breast cancer. Both of her grandmothers had died from it too, so when it was her turn for a screening, she went in expecting reassurance. She didn't get it. Doctors found abnormal cells in her breast tissue, the kind that, given her family history, had a high chance of turning cancerous. She was laid out 3 options: get monitored every few months and hope for the best, remove just the affected side, or remove everything and eliminate the risk entirely. She chose the most aggressive option, a full double mastectomy, not because it was easy, because she'd already watched this disease take 3 women in her family, and she wasn't going to gamble. Here's where it gets rough. The surgery left her with scarring far worse than she'd been told to expect. Thick, raised, jagged marks across her chest. It didn't just hurt physically. It sent her into a depression so severe she stopped leaving her apartment. She got rid of every mirror in her home. She couldn't look at her own body without feeling sick. Eventually, a therapist, recognizing this wasn't just vanity, it was genuinely breaking her, referred her to a plastic surgeon to talk about scar reduction. Creams didn't work. Laser treatment was expensive and risky, so she chose implants, specifically to cover the scarring. Not to change how she looked for anyone else, and it worked. Her mental health recovered. Her confidence came back. For the first time in years, she could look in a mirror without wanting to cry. That's the story nobody at her office knew. Fast forward, Maya's 28 now, doing well, working an office job, and that's where she meets Jill. Jill finds out about the implants completely by accident. Maya's discussing a beach vacation with an old friend, makes an offhand joke about flying with implants, and Jill happens to overhear it. Naturally, Jill does the mature thing. She tells the entire office by lunchtime. By the end of that day, everyone knows Maya got a boob job, nobody knows why, and Jill decides this is now open material. Over the next 3 months, Jill doesn't let it go. Comments to coworkers about Maya having more plastic than Barbie, calling her fake in 2 ways. At one point, referring to her, not even to her face, as a sack of silicone. She even brings up taxpayer money, apparently assuming the surgery was publicly funded. For the record, it wasn't. Maya asks her to stop more than once. Every time in places with no cameras, the elevator, the bathroom, Jill doesn't stop. 3 comments a week for 3 months straight. This is the slow burn, keep this in mind, because everything that happens next is Jill's own fault, and she is about to learn that the hard way. The final straw happens at lunch. Maya calls something shallow in conversation. Jill, in front of a table of coworkers, fires back, "You'd know all about being shallow," gesturing at her chest, and Maya finally says it, calmly, clearly, in front of everyone. She explains it all: the cancer risk, the mastectomy, the scars, the therapist, the surgeon, why the implants exist in the first place, and she ends with something like, "Maybe before you judge someone for cosmetic surgery, you should ask them why they had it." Then she picks up her tray and walks out. Mic drop moment. Except this is a workplace, not a movie, and workplaces have HR. And Jill is about to prove that some people would rather look petty than let a moment like that just land. The next morning, Maya gets an email. HR wants to speak with her. The phrase used, hostile work environment. She already has a hunch who reported her, and it gets worse when she realizes the HR rep assigned to her case is Jill's close friend. This is where a lot of people would just panic. Maya does something smarter. She goes to work. She remembers a line buried in her employment contract. Employees have the right to request an impartial overseer if they believe their assigned HR reviewer is biased. She photocopies the page, highlights it. Then she does something even better. She reaches out quietly that same night to coworkers who'd witnessed Jill's comments over the past 3 months and asks if anyone would be willing to put what they saw in writing. 16 people say yes. 16, not 2, not 3, 16 separate written signed statements, each with names, approximate dates, direct quotes of things Jill had said. Some even mention Jill making similarly cruel comments about other coworkers' appearances. She organizes it all into a folder: the statements, the contract clause, a rough timeline of every time she'd asked Jill to stop. Maya walks into HR with her folder. Debbie stands up, ready to lead her into a private room. Maya doesn't move. She asks pointedly whether this meeting is actually with the other HR rep in the room instead. Debbie says no, it's with her. This is the moment. Watch this. Maya pulls out the photocopied contract page and says she has reason to believe Debbie can't be impartial here. Because Debbie and Jill are close friends, Debbie insists she can be objective. Maya doesn't budge. Debbie has to go get a supervisor. The supervisor asks Maya how she knows about the friendship. She tells him plainly. He turns to Debbie. Debbie's only defense, I can be impartial. That's not a denial. The supervisor pulls in a second, unaffiliated HR rep, and the four of them sit down together to actually review the complaint, this time, properly. Over the next half hour, Maya answers every question the same way. Calm, factual, backed by evidence. Why does Jill have a problem with her? What happened? Who saw it? She lays out the full medical history, offers them access to her file, hands over 16 signed statements plus a list of witnesses from the lunchroom, which she points out has security cameras that will confirm every word. She didn't walk into that meeting hoping to be believed. She walked in with a case file. The meeting ends. Maya's told they'll review everything and get back to her. She goes back to her desk and, expecting the worst, pulls up her resume to start job hunting. Then the interviews start. One by one, every coworker who wrote a statement gets called into HR, then everyone who was in the lunchroom, each one gone for around 10 minutes, then back at their desk, and notice who hasn't been called yet. Finally, hours later, Jill gets pulled in. She's gone for 30 minutes, comes back furious. Then she's called in again before the end of the day. When she finally emerges the second time, she's clearing out her desk, glaring at Maya the entire time, telling anyone who will listen that Maya got her fired before storming into the elevator. An email lands in Maya's inbox not long after. Case closed. Jill spent 3 months trying to make Maya feel small, over a body she'd fought to survive in. She thought mocking a stranger's insecurity was a punchline. Instead, she handed her a reason to finally speak up. And speaking up is what got her fired. If you like this one, there's a whole pool of stories like it waiting for you. Malicious compliance. Entitled people getting exactly what's coming to them. Revenge stories that actually land. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.